最後のキスはタバコのフレーバーがした苦くて切ない香り明日の今頃にはあなたはどこにいるんだろう誰を思っているんだろう You are always gonna You're the one that's there for me. When I found you, I was blessed, and I will never leave you. I need you. Imagine me without you. I'd be lost and so confused. I wouldn't last a day. I'd be afraid without you there to see me through. Imagine me without you. Lord, I know it's just impossible because of you. It's so brand new. My life is now worth a while. I can't imagine me without you. When you caught me, I was falling. Your love lifted me back on my feet. It was like you heard my calling, and you rushed to set me free. When I found you, I was blessed, and I will never leave you. I need you. Imagine me without you. I'd be lost and so confused. I wouldn't last a day. I'd be afraid without you there to see me through. Imagine me without you. Lord, I know it's just impossible because of you. It's so brand new. My life is now worth a while. I can't imagine me without you.
Hello, hello, Mike. Hello, hello.
When I found you, I was blessed, and I will never leave you. I need you. Imagine me without you. I'd be lost and so confused. I wouldn't last a day. I'd be afraid without you there to see me impossible because of you. It's so brand new. My life is now worth a while. I can't imagine me. I can't imagine me without you.
Hello, hello, Mike. Hello. Tonight the darkness seems so deep, and silent stars watch as we sleep. And drift across the sky, never stop to wonder why. Million eyes could never weep. And she lies dreaming like a child, here beside me all the while. But she'll just dream away until the break of day, and gently wake me with a smile. She makes me laugh, she makes me cry, she brings me down and takes me high. She fills my life day. Her nighttime dream days they slip away. She's there beside me still, the way she always will, sharing my life in every way. She makes me laugh, she makes me cry, Lola Mano po. Huwag kang aalis na mag-aaral tayo. Oo nga pala, kailangan i-book. The lady is me in the photograph. I'm afraid 'cause it feels too good and I want it too bad. It's just not true. Couldn't ask for any more than you, because you look at me. Ganito ako, kanta lang ako ng kanta. As though I'm beautiful. Could it be that you want me? I never dreamed someone like you could want someone like me. I'm not sure, but the more that it's real, the more it's right. Oh, what an eye. It's as though we've been lovers all of our lives. There must be a God. Could it be that He's heard me at last? Because you look at me. Thank you. As though I'm beautiful. Siniskwela. I never dreamed someone like you could want someone like me. Oo. Parehas. Tatlo. All the pleasures the same. It goes so fast. Tinatry ko itatlo. I'm the girl with a strawberry hair in the photograph. So come on, let's dance. Let me have it while I have the chance. 'Cause there's another world where there were other girls, but tonight there's only me. I never dreamed someone like you could love someone like me. Tatlo tapos tig-iisang viewer. Nagtatlo peno. Wala namang viewer. Ay, hello. Hello, no name. No name man. Can I go? Ako i-fall. Yan na naman tayo sa wall. The morning's over. That is something warm for being. Yung sinasabi ko ano to, may mga mumu pag papok mo wala sila. What's to say? Last night you heard me crying, 'cause I had never loved a man before. And I guess the tears were falling, 'cause the little girl was lost. And now that I'm not crying anymore, never seen a man lying on my pillow. I've never seen nobody without clothes. I can't believe these feelings I've discovered. Sure, it's just what every lover's knows. Now I'm on my offering, I make a promise. Kasi naman yung lyrics puti, hindi ko mabasa. Love's gone tomorrow, don't pretend. Right now I'm in love, and that's all I'm thinking of. And I hope this feeling never ever ends. This girl has turned into a woman, and I dreamed of this moment all my life. This girl has turned into a woman, and I thank you for your tenderness this time. I want to love you once again tonight. Mamaya may magsasabi sa akin, hindi na count? Hindi ikaw yung isa. Ewan ko, hindi ko alam kung nakakount yung may magsasabi naman sa akin, kailan ka ba magle-lecture? Kanta ka ng kanta, kailan ka magle-lesson? What do I have? Hindi pa nga kasi wala pa zero pa eh. I've always been a dreamer, followed visions of my own. I was born to belong to the lines of a song and make them my own. I believe in happy endings, though I've only known a few. As they are like a bright shine falling star, I found one in you. Hindi ko alam yung mga bagong kanta. Sometimes all the world can seem so friendless, and the road ahead so endless, and the dream so far away. Ay, may bago pala akong bagong kanta. Sometimes when I'm almost to surrender, then I stop and I remember I have you to save my day. Often my imagination has me reaching out too far. When I felt you were there with your hand in the air, you knew from the start. Sometimes after all you've done to save me, through the love you freely gave me, every step along the way. I have you to save my day. Sometimes feeling helpless when I held you, wishing words would come to tell you I have you to save my day. Nung unang-una lang ako nag-stream, nung mga bandang October, November last year, na-stress ako. Anong name ko sa Lola's project? Ano kaya ako dun sa iyo? Tawag dun. Naka-follow ako sa iyo dun. Hindi, may alam akong bago-bago. Kay bago ko lang nalaman. Ito, bago-bago to. Dahil sa panonood ko ng stream, kaya ko nalaman. Pero kung hindi ako nanonood, di ko rin alam ito. Feel like sun on my skin. This is love. It is. Now it sounds super cliche, but you make me feel some type of way. This is falling, falling in love. I've got a lot on my mind, got some more on my plate. My baby got me looking forward to the end of the day. What you say, you and me? Just forget about the past, throw it in the trash. What you say, you and me? Leave the life we never had back, we're never going back. Feel like sun on my skin. So this is love, I know it is. And it sounds super cliche, but you make me feel some type of way. This is falling. Yun ang alam na bago. Ay, hello. Tingnan mo, magpa-poke lang, mali pa ang pinindot ko. Thank you. There's a song that's inside of my soul. Isang oras na kanta. It's the one that I've tried to write over and over again. I'm awake in the infinite golden, but you sing to me over and over and over again. So I lay my head back down and I lift my hands and pray to be only yours. I pray to be only yours. I know now you're the stars of our galaxy, dancing and laughing again. When it feels like my dreams are so far, sing to me of the plans that you have for me over again. So I lay my head back down and I lift my hands and pray to be only yours. I pray to be only yours. I know now you're my only hope. I give you my destiny, I'm giving you all of me. I want your symphony, singing all that I am. At the top of my lungs, I'm giving you all of me. So I lay my head back down and I lift my hands and pray to be only yours. I pray to be only yours. I pray to be only yours. I know now you're my only hope. Tama na nga. Kailangan ko lang mag-aral. Lolo ko pa yung mouse. Ay, hello, are you Peng Peng Bao? I remember your picture. Thank you for bye. Ay, hello, thank you. I Hi, Beng. Thank you. Together. Ayan, okay. Ano nangyari? Thank you again. May request kayong kanta? Kanta? Ang baba ng boses eh. Wala, ayaw humana ng ako. Thank you for poking that. Ay. Then, ayaw gumana ng aking, nawala ang aking OBS. Sipon mo natin isa. Ano to? Tinatry ko mag-multi-stream. Ngayon naghahang. Ano ba yan? Kasi ni-stream ko na gamit ang YouTube tsaka Twitch. Ngayon, naghang ang OBS. Still working but hindi ko siya ma-access. Yes, okay.
Welcome back. You're making fantastic progress so far. Now that you've covered the basics of simple subqueries, let's learn how to construct correlated subqueries. Correlated subqueries are a special kind of subquery that use values from the outer query in order to generate the final results. The subquery is re-executed each time a new row in the final data set is returned in order to properly generate each new piece of information. Correlated subqueries are used for special types of calculations such as advanced joining, filtering, and evaluating of data in the database. Let's walk through an example of one of these queries.
Pag lumayas ka, may pat-pat akong pamalo. Hindi, joke. Scary ba?
In the previous chapter, you completed an exercise that answered the question, which match stages, where the stakes get higher in each stage, tend to have a higher than average number of goals scored. You achieve this using 3 simple subqueries in the select, from, and where statements. However, that same output can also be produced with a correlated subquery. Let's focus on the subquery in the where statement. This query only has one difference. Instead of including a filter by season, the where clause filters for data where the outer table's match stage, pulled from the subquery in from, is higher than the overall average generated in the where subquery. The entire where statement is saying, in essence, return stages where the values in the subquery are higher than the average. Here are the results generated by this query. This may seem a bit complicated, but with a few more examples and a bit of practice, you will start to get the hang of how useful correlated subqueries can be. Let's quickly walk through some key differences between simple and correlated subqueries. Simple subqueries can be used in extracting, structuring, or filtering information and can run independent of the main query. In contrast, a correlated subquery cannot be executed on its own because it's dependent on the values in the main query. Additionally, a simple subquery is evaluated once in the entire statement. A correlated subquery is evaluated in loops, once for each row generated by the dataset. This means that adding correlated subqueries will slow down your query performance, since your query is recalculating information over and over. Be careful not to include too many correlated subqueries, or your query may take a long time to run. Here's another, smaller example of a query in which you can use a correlated subquery. Let's answer the question, what is the average number of goals scored in each country across all match seasons? This is an easy enough question, right? You simply join the match table to the country table on the country's ID and extract the country's name, take an average of the goals scored, and group the entire query by the country's name, yielding one row with an average value per country. A correlated subquery can be used here in lieu of a join. Take a look at the outer query first. The name of the country is selected from the country table, aliased as C. The second column selected is a scalar subquery, selecting the average total goals scored across seasons from the match table. You'll notice that the where clause asks SQL to return values where the inner match table's country ID column matches the c.id column in the outer query's country table. This way, the entire join is replaced and the results are identical.
By all means.
Okay, it's time to practice using correlated
Okay lang po,
subqueries.
okay lang. I go out. Ano to? Yung anak mo yung pag-aralin mo. Kasi sabi mag-open daw ang TESDA ng course para sa data analytics. Then, parang anong tawag dito? Ang forecast is malaki yung magiging demand. As in, siguro parang ang sinabi ng PSA yata, statistics, is for the IT alone, for the IT industry alone, they will be needing around 500,000 open vacancies for data analytics. So, kaya gusto ko siyang mapanood ng iba. Oo, kasi nga actually yung classmate ko nung high school, kinontak niya rin ako. Then sabi nga niya yung anak daw niya nasa IT rin. Second year din yata. Kaya sabi ko sa kanya, papanoorin rin niya ng mga ah, para lang magkaroon ng viewers yun, hindi naman. Para lang kasi actually, halimbawa sa trabaho, nagbibigay akong exam sa mga applicants. Medyo sad to say, yung karamihan ng mga nag-a-apply, kahit kagagraduate lang, sasabihin nila nakalimutan na nila. Samantalang ipapa-exam mo naman, basic lang. Kumbaga parang basic, basic lang na dapat natutunan nila. Pero usual, siguro 1 out of 10 yung papasa. Karamihan, hindi sila marunong mag-Excel. Samantalang dapat yun natutunan nila sa school. Kaya ah, kaya tinatry ko na kahit papano anong tawag dito? Merong maging contribution. Yun. Kaso sabi mo nga scary. Anyway, tuloy na natin to. ChatGPT join the chat. Sino si ChatGPT? ChatGPT. Actually, may isa akong lesson regarding dyan sa ChatGPT na yan. Kaya lang intro lang. Inano ko lang. Kasi nga, hindi ko alam kung ano yung ChatGPT na yan eh. Pero, AI siya. Artificial Intelligence na pwede nating gamitin para mas mapadali yung mga kailangan nating gawin. Pero at the end of the day, syempre kailangan pa rin nating i-review. Hindi naman lahat kukunin lang natin, wala na tayong originality. Yung mga lang, ang tawag dito, copywriting. Yung mga copywriting yun, yung mga content, pero pwede na tayo makakuha parang templates, ganun. Next time, AI na rin kakanta. Yes. Hindi, actually, lagi ko naman sinasabi, AI, para lang mas mapadali yung trabaho ng tao. Pero not necessarily, kasi katulad sa office, sabi nung office mate ko, sabi niya sa akin, pagka na yung AI na yan, katulad daw sa ibang bansa, mababawasan daw ang trabaho. Marami raw ang mawawalan ng trabaho. Which is somehow true. Pero sabi ko sa kanya, kailangan lang para ma-improve or anong tawag dito? Mas mapadali yung gawain ng tao. Pero not necessarily mean na mawawala na ng trabaho yung tao. Kasi at the end of the day, yung tao pa rin yung syempre tao pa rin ang ang mag-check. Kasi hindi naman lahat nung makukuha natin sa AI is concise or accurate. Just meron na siyang ready-made na mga templates, ganun. Ready-made na parang pagbabasihan. Parang, alam niyo na yun. Sandali. Dapat ganito, magsasagot ako ng exercises, tapos kapag tama, kakanta ako, akong pipili. Pero pagka mali, kayo. Kaya lang, may lalabas na sa streamers na AI kasi yung filter parang drawing na lang ang mukha. Ah, Hindi, actually, yung, yung iba nga, yung iba bots, kasi kaya ko nalaman, minsan merong pasok ng pasok sa stream ko. Nagtataka ako bakit new user katapos napapalitan parehas yung pangalan pero napapalitan yung number sa dulo. Tapos pag pinopoke ko siya, wala siya. Kaya sabi ko, may mumu. Kaya sabi ko, mumu yung aking viewers. Minsan anim na pangalan niya, pero iba-iba yung number sa dulo. Kaya nagpa-follow siya sa akin, sabi ko, ba't ganito? Hindi nagpa-follow, pare-pares yung name ka, tapos iba-iba yung numbers dun sa dulo. Kaya sabi ko, baka may mga bots. Kaya buti nga kayo pag nag-stream kayo, totoong tao. Totoong tao yung nanonood. Mantalang ako, pag nag-stream ako, puro mumula. Puro multo. O sige na, magsasagot na ako. Sabi dito, select country ID, date, home and away goals from match. The match here is the data table. To select the columns, for the columns here is the fields of a table, of a data table. Sana naintindihan nyo, no? Meron na bot chat sumasagot. So it says here that select the country ID, date, home, and away goals from match. So actually, nasagutan ko na pala yung iba rito. Kaya isasubmit ko na lang. Madaya no? Ready-made na sagutan na. May panyo naman ako dito in case mag-nosebleed. Hindi. Yung anak mo na nga lang yung papanoorin mo para at least maintindihan niya. Sabihin mo ako magpapa-exam sa kanya. Hindi, pero seriously, pag nagpapa-exam ako sa office ng mga aplikante, kasi yung ibang mga kasama ko, ibang mga tao namin doon, usually, ang tawag dito, sensado na sila, nasa Singapore na. Karamihan ng mga IT, Singapore pumupunta. Kasi, siguro dahil doon yung demand talaga. And, parang nangyayari sa amin, parang training ground. Pag marunong na, aalis na, tapos hahanap na naman kami ng bago. Kaya lang, sa ngayon, hirap kasi, syempre, pag merong umaalis sa trabaho, sa opisina, yung trabaho na iiwan dun sa, kung sino yung mga naiiwan. Kaya lang, ang hirap mag-hire. Kasi, syempre, yung company namin, lang siya, Filipino-Chinese yung boss namin. Medyo maliit lang ang sweldo, maliit lang magpasweldo. Anong tawag dito? Ang hirap kumuha nung magaling na empleyado na papayag dun sa mababang sweldo. So, ang hirap. Pag nagpapa-exam ako, minsan binibigyan ko pa ng tips. Pinapayagan ko na mag-research, mag-review. Kaso, ang hirap talaga kasi, anong tawag dito? Hindi ko maintindihan kung ano yung tinuturo sa school. Karamihan sa kanila sasabihin nakalimutan na. Ewan ko, gagraduate lang nakalimutan na kaagad. Tsaka pagka naintindihan mo yung pinag-aralan mo, kahit siguro ano, hindi mo basta, pag ni-review mo, maalala mo kaagad. Pero ibig sabihin, yung entirely nakalimutan mo, ibig sabihin, hindi mo siya naintindihan. Ay, nako. Ibig sabihin mo na naman, scary. Hala, anong oras na ba? 7:00 na. Okay, so it says here that correlated subqueries take longer to produce results, but they often prevent you from having to create multiple subqueries. So, correlated subquery with multiple conditions. Correlated subqueries are useful for matching data across multiple columns. In the previous exercise, we generated a list of matches with extremely high scores of each country. In this exercise, we're going to add an additional column for matching to answer the question. What was the highest scoring match for each country in each season? So, it says here that select the country ID, date, home goal, and away goal columns in the main query. So what we did here was to select the main country ID, date, home goal, and away goal from match as main. This is the usual syntax, syntax for the select query. We have select, first is the select, and then the columns we're going to select. So the columns were of the tables we're going to get, and then from what table. Then we can also use the alias as. Aliasing uses as, then the alias name, then where is the source. Where do we have to get the data from? So in case here, the data is derived from another subquery. Subquery here says here that select the matches with the highest number of goals. So the keyword here is the highest. The highest. To get the highest number, we have to get the maximum. The function for the for the highest is the maximum. So the maximum for the home goals plus the away goals. Then alias the subquery as sub. So from the main query, we get the data from match, which is aliased as main, and for the subquery, we also get the data from the match table, but then it was aliased as sub. Then to filter the main query uses the country ID, and it is is matched with the country ID of the subquery. Then another filter is the season. The main query is matched with the season of the subquery. Okay, sige, kain lang kayo. Thank you for dropping by.
Building on the previous lesson, another important type of subquery to learn is the nested subquery. Nested subqueries are exactly as they sound. Subqueries nested inside other subqueries. As you saw in the previous chapter, information in a database is often not in the format you need to answer a question. Some types of questions you answer may require multiple layers of transformation and filtering of data before you extract it into the main query. Let's start with an example. The query you see here is similar to the previous lesson, where we selected the average number of goals scored in a match within each country and compared it to the overall average using a subquery in select. This third column calculates the difference between each country and the overall average. The resulting table looks like this, with one row for each country and one column for each of the two calculations. Let's answer a similar question with an additional layer. How does each month's total goals differ from the monthly average of goals scored? The query here, similar to the previous one, answers this question. Let's take some time to walk through the necessary steps to get this result. The subquery logic reads like this. First, select the sum of goals scored in each month. The month is queried using the extract function from the date. Here are the results of that first inner subquery, which includes results for months 1 through 12. Next, you can place the subquery into the second outer subquery to calculate an average of the values generated in the previous table, giving you the average monthly goals scored. Since this result is a scalar subquery, you can now place it in the main query for calculating the final dataset. Finally, you can place the entire nested subquery in the select statement, giving you a scalar value to compare to the sum of goals scored in each month. Here are the first 4 rows of the final query, which generates a sum of goals scored in the month and a column subtracting the goals scored from the overall monthly average. It's important to note that nested subqueries can be correlated or uncorrelated. They can also be a combination of the two. The inner subquery can be correlated, the outer uncorrelated, or vice versa. And each of the correlated subqueries can reference information from an outer subquery or the main query. It entirely depends on the problem you're looking to solve. Let's look at an example. This query answers the question, what is each country's average goals scored in a match in the 2011-2012 season? This is fairly similar to the previous chapter, except it takes one additional step. It has a second nested subquery inside the select statement, and the outer subquery has a statement correlating with the main query. The result you see here is a table with a column that identifies each country's average goals scored in the 2011-2012 season. Okay, let's practice creating some nested subqueries.
Inuuna ang ng panonood. Kaya pala mali. Iba yung ano ba yan? Saan na ba yun? Kalma. Ano ba yan? Nag-i-stream tawa ng tawa. So, for nested simple subqueries, nested subqueries can either be simple or correlated. Just like a nested subquery components can be executed independently of the outer query, while a correlated subquery requires both the outer and inner subquery to run and produce results. This exercise will have to practice creating a nested subquery to examine the highest total number of goals in each season. Overall, and during July across all seasons. So for the instructions, complete the main query to select the season and the max total goals in a match for each season. We have to name these as max_goals. Then complete the first simple subquery to select the max total goals in a match across all seasons. Then name these overall max goals. Actually, I've already answered this before, so it is already coded here. So I'm just reading this, reading the instructions. So then complete the nested subquery to select the maximum total goals in a match played in July across all seasons. Then select the maximum total goals in the outer subquery. Name this entire subquery as July max goals. Then this is the query. Here we select the season, the maximum home plus away goals as maximum goals. Then select the overall max goals scored in a match. Nalito na. Nalito na ako kung alin ang ginagamit ko. Nagam. Tapos na yung free ko. It's my golden hour. Beans. Parehas. Nag-i-stream pero nanonood. Ayaw siyang mag-sing. Yes, the subquery in from. So it says here that what's the average number of matches per season where a team scored 5 or more goals? How does this differ by country? I guess I'm going to fast forward to where I've finished from the last lesson.
Great job getting the hang of nested and correlated subqueries. As you probably noticed, the queries we have been setting up are quickly becoming long and complex. It can become difficult to clearly keep track of each piece of your query, why you need it, and whether or not it's necessary. In this lesson, we'll cover a common method for improving readability and accessibility of information in subqueries, the common table expression. Common table expressions, or CTEs, are a special type of subquery that are declared ahead of your main query, just like you see here. Instead of wrapping subqueries inside, say, the from statement, you name it using the with statement, and then reference it by name later on in the from statement as if it were any other table in your database. Let's rewrite a query from an exercise that you completed in Chapter 2 by using a CTE. The query you see here uses a subquery, S, in the from statement to generate a list of country IDs and match IDs that meet a certain criteria. Specifically, we only wanted matches with 10 or more goals scored in total. This subquery is then joined to the country table and the number of matches in the subquery is counted in the main query. Here are the results of that query: a short list of countries with very few high-scoring matches. In order to rewrite this query using a common table expression to represent the subquery, simply take the subquery out of the from clause, place it at the beginning of your query, declare it using the syntax with, followed by a CTE name, and as. So here, we're starting our CTE S by stating with S as, and then placing the subquery inside parentheses. It's now a common table expression. Finally, complete the rest of the query the same way you would if the CTE were an existing table in the database. You select the country name from the country table, count the number of matches in the CTE.
Hello, Queenie. Wala. Just the ones.
S, join S to the country table, and then group the results by the country name's alias. The results, you guessed it, are identical to the previous query setup. If you have multiple subqueries that you want to return into a common table expression, you can simply list them, one after another, with a comma in between each CTE and no comma after the last one. You can then retrieve the information you need into the main query. Just make sure you properly join the second CTE as well. So why are we learning yet another method of producing the same results in a SQL query? Common table expressions have numerous benefits over a subquery written inside your main query. First, the CTE is run only once and then stored in memory, so it often leads to an improvement in the amount of time it takes to run your query. Second, CTEs are an excellent tool for organizing long and complex queries. You can declare as many CTEs as you need, one after another. You can also reference information in the CTE declared earlier. For example, if you have 3 CTEs in a query, your third can retrieve information from the first and the second CTE. Finally, a CTE can reference itself in a special kind of table called a recursive CTE. We'll briefly discuss some more advanced applications of CTEs in the next lesson. For now, let's practice writing CTEs by modifying queries in exercises you completed in Chapter 2.
Hindi na nag-stream. Nanood ng stream na may stream. Tapos ano pa ako. I'm going now. Next, I want to see more. Thank you. I'm watching another stream while I'm streaming. See more. Asan ba yung... Nalaglag. Kailangan ko na mag-code. Lifters. Join set city to the city table. Ano ko nga muna, end ko muna stream kasi